I'm Stewart Hardie. I am the founder and CEO of Tenera. We are a Canadian company located here in Halifax. We are an end-to-end Canadian company. We built our system and we manufacture it here in Canada. What we do is, and bear with me, I'm going to give you a little brief talk about LTC, long-term care, before I move on to what we're heading the direction today, which will probably be more interest to this crowd. We came about 7 years ago, and the need we saw was to create an automated nurse call system. I had many family experiences that weren't very pleasant in long-term care related to my family members not getting the assistance they need when they need it. So I wanted to create a system that wasn't relying on the 93-year-old with dementia to push a button when they need help getting out of the bed, but for us to understand when they're trying to get out of bed and then give them the assistance they need. So we did that. And as a byproduct of that, we got a tremendous amount of data. So what we learned to understand is how we do it is we understand exactly where everybody is. So our accuracy and our location is about 6 inches. We call it chair level accuracy. We have a wearable device with a push button on it. If they so require, they can push it for the residents to wear. Staff wear them as well because they can get assistance as well. And they quite often, to be honest with you, need more assistance than the residents do. But we wanted to understand where they were, and in relation to time, other spaces, and other wearables, we wanted to be able to create notifications and get them to staff via an app. So we developed our own app in iOS and Android, and that's how the staff receive the notifications. And they can range from anything, and they're all individualized depending on the care protocol of the resident. So if we have a situation where we have 2 hostile residents that don't get along very well, we can put a proximity alert on them. So when they get close together, then the staff get a notification saying, hey, Stu's too close to Ed, go intercept them. And they do, and it works. And we've shown a drastic reduction in hostile interactions in long-term care. UTI issues, when people go to the washroom, staff are automatically noted. Getting out of bed, same idea. You know, whatever the problem or the care protocol is for that resident, we can handle it, and we can look after it automatically without them having to push the button. They still have the button. And the great thing about it is it's mobile. So if wherever they push the button, we're going to know that's where they're at. It's not going to just say, hey, Stu needs help. It's going to say Stu needs help in. So where we're going with that now, and we've established that in long-term care. We are currently in market in Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, and Ontario, and some of the US states. And I also, a little shout out to Michael from AgeWell. He's been very helpful. And I noticed a few of the presenters have said, you know, introductions and warm welcomes were very important. Then they have been extremely important in our development as well. And Michael at AgeWell has been very helpful with us getting us into some of the great markets. For example, UHN in Toronto, we've been there now for 2 years, and that was at the behest of an introduction from Michael. So, you know, our next stage now is moving into hospitals, and we are in as I just mentioned, in the UHN in Toronto, and we're also in Brayer Hospital in Ottawa. Now, what that sort of showed us is, you know, LTC has sort of defined uses, you know, bed, bathrooms, and, you know, very limited spaces, and they're pretty well consistent. But as we get into hospitals, you know, we're working with the rehab center there where people come and go. So we really want to understand, you know, how they're making out once they get their treatments. And so we have the ability now to work with doctors to do trend reporting. So if I change a medication for a patient who has, my father, for example, he has what I call, or he likes to call, waterworks problems. So he gets up frequently in the night. So the doctor gave him medication to help with that. And I've been able to follow a trend to see how often my dad gets up at night. And we have seen that it's not working. So a report has gone to the doctor automatically to say, hey, Charles, is bathroom frequency has increased or it has not decreased. So we're seeing all kinds of really cool stuff like that doctors can use. We've also been able to build out with the data set a sleep metric. We've been able to do trend reporting, as I just mentioned, and it's not just on bathroom visits. We can show, you know, if your steps are increasing or decreasing during the day. We can show your socialization habits, and it just allows us to act on them before it becomes a real problem. So if we see somebody not socializing, we can go there and say, hey, you know, the bingo's on, we're waiting for you, or whatever the case may be. But it just gives the people the information they need to react and to do something before it becomes a serious issue. We've also been able to develop a quality of life metric. And this is a great opportunity for organizations to understand how their organizations are performing. So Shanix, for example, can look at how their quality of life of their memory care residents are in Cape Breton versus the quality of life of the memory care residents in, say, Halifax, and then adjust staffing and adjust protocols and whatever the normal operating procedures are to fix those problems. So we've had great success in long-term care, and it continues to gain traction. And as people mentioned, it's not just a North America problem. We are gaining traction outside of North America as well. And, the hospital insights with the doctors, it also led us to believe, I think the place where we can be the most helpful is at home. And so we're starting now, we just started 2 months ago, some pilot programs across Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, and Ontario with at-home clients. And what we're seeing is that, we can offer the push button, the call for help thing. I mean, that's always been there. It's pretty easy for us to do, but we can also offer so much more. So by knowing where everything is, we can tell you when you're there, when you're not. I mean, simple math, right? But with our system now at home, we can tell you how much time you spend at the stove, in the kitchen, the refrigerator, the medicine cabinet, you're sitting in your favorite chair. And so we can develop trends on that. So if you're trending watching TV too much, if you're trending too much time in the bed, your socialization habits aren't working properly. Here's a couple of examples. So we have a client here in Nova Scotia who has issues with turning off the stove. So she has family across Canada. When she goes to the stove now, all of her family members get a little message, like a text message saying, "Mom's at the stove." And it gives them the opportunity to call in and say, "Hey, Mom, how was supper? What did you have? Did you remember to turn the stove off?" Just little things like that. We have a client in Ontario. He's 94. He lives by himself. Still drives his car, gets around okay, but his mobility is declining a little bit, and his family members are concerned about stairs. So when he goes up down a set of stairs, they get a notification, and they can push the notification, and it'll show him moving, not physically, like not a picture, but it'll show a little dot moving up and down the stairs, so they can ensure that he does travel the stairs safely. We have another client, a couple here in Nova Scotia. The husband has dementia, and they still sleep together, but he's been getting up at night, and she's worried that he's going to leave. So we can have an alert set when he gets out of bed. We can even have an alert set if he tries to go to the front door. So we're seeing all kinds of really interesting ways to help people stay home safer, happier, and healthier, and have everybody have a little peace of mind and have some comfort knowing that their loved ones being looked after and they're cared for. And at any time, you can just open the app and see where they are and make sure they're fine. Some of the things, really exciting things we have coming down the runway is floor detection. So fall detection has been around forever. And to be frank, it certainly doesn't work very well. It's not very consistent. And quite often, seniors don't fall fast. And really, that's the trigger for fall detection, is a change in direction really quickly. So we felt that, and from our surveys and our conversations with people delivering care, that the more important thing wasn't to know about the act of falling, it's to know that they're on the floor. One of the great things about our system is it's in 3 dimensions, so we can understand we're at a floor level. The accuracy is not quite there yet. We expect it'll be a few more months before we get it finalized and pushed out to be commercialized, but we expect that's going to be a great game changer as well. And that's about it, Ed. I'm going to turn it back to you.